Yous all seem to enjoy my last recipe, which was a beef and Guinness Irish stew. Since then, I've been requested to make a traditional Irish stew. There is a few differences, some of the same ingredients. I'm going to make it today to the best of my abilities. It's still perfect for a cold, rainy winter's night and very comforting. Let's rock. What's happening, folks? We'll start things off with the first difference from the beef stew, which is lamb. A traditional Irish stew was made with lamb. You can use lamb neck, shoulder, or you can use some mutton. That's what they used back then, as it was cheaper and easier to source. Season your lamb with some salt, pepper, then add some flour, give it all a good mix, and the flour will give it a nice crust when we cook it in the pot. Next, get out your big pot, turn to medium to high heat, then begin to brown off your lamb. Don't cook this for longer than 2 minutes, as you just want to get a nice colour and crust on it and not let it fully cook, as we will finish it off in the stew. As it simmers away, it'll become nice and tender. But don't overcook it, because when you put it in the stew, it'll get more rubbery and tough lamb is an awful flavour. Don't get you wrong, any tough meat is, but especially lamb is just awful. Don't overcrowd your pot and cook it in batches if you have to. Now, can you see the bottom of that pot? All that fond crust and flavour, that's what we want. We'll scrape that up with a bit of water and the vegetables and add some flavour. It's a great start and base to the stew. Next, prep your veg, and the great thing about stews is you'll always have some leftover ingredients. For example, I'm using some carrot, celery, potatoes and onions that I had left over from the last stew recipe. As always when prepping veg, make sure you have 2 containers, one for the food waste and one for everything you chopped. Makes everything easier to clean up. Now for this big batch, I use 2 white onions, 3 small sticks of celery and 2 carrots. I like to finely dice my onion, but some prefer having it in bigger chunks in their stews. Same with the carrots and celery, this is how I like to cut them, but you cut them to your liking. Sweat those off in the pan, scrape up all that fond and flavour, and keep it on medium to high heat. Add a splash of water to help you scrape up everything and cook until it's softened. So now when the veg is softened, we'll add in the lamb. Now, a proper full-on traditional Irish stew is just made with mutton, onions, potatoes, salt and water. Obviously it's not the 1800s anymore, so as the years go on, people start adding more stuff like carrots, celery. Some people even add parsnips, turnips, some barley, kind of just anything you get their hands on really. So if you do go in Ireland and get a traditional Irish stew, this is most likely what you're going to get served. As I said, it's not the 1800s anymore, so we can add a bit more ingredients, more herbs and stuff like that. Just don't add any garlic, no tomato puree, no alcohol, because that is a beef and Guinness stew. And some people think that is actually a traditional Irish stew, which it isn't, even though it is a classic Irish dish. It's not fully traditional. But in saying that, if you really did want to add some garlic, alcohol or add other ingredients, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm just making it this way because it is delicious obviously, and people have requested me to make traditional version, so here we are. Add 1 high quality beef stock pot, plenty of water, 2 to 3 bay leaves and some fresh thyme. Bring it to a boil for a few minutes and turn it down for the simmer for around 2 hours or more. Now I went ahead and added some more water as I want to do a bigger batch. I know it's watery for now, but the longer it goes on, when you add more veg, it will begin to thicken. So let that simmer away, clean up, go do other stuff and let those flavours get to know each other. Now towards the end, you want to prep the last bit of veg, which is some potatoes and optionally some leek. So as I said, the fully traditional one is just potatoes, onions, the meat and salt. Leek is just something that I like to add, and it is in some recipes. Use 4 to 5 potatoes for this 1 stick of leek, and the reason we don't add potatoes from the start is if they cook too long and go all mushy, you just want to add them in the last hour or half an hour so they keep their body in shape. Then finally chop some fresh parsley and add all that into the stew. After about an hour of cooking, make sure you taste your stew to see if you're happy with the salt and pepper levels. For example, I went ahead and added more black pepper, added some white pepper, a little pinch of salt and another stock pot. Now stock pots are quite salty, but I feel like I needed to add a second one as I made a big huge batch. So always just start off with 1, and if you're making a big batch like me, taste towards the end and see if you need to add another one. If you're not making a batch as big as me, you might just need 1. So play it safe at the start. Don't ever overdo the seasoning, taste towards the end, and that's when you make the adjustments. Lastly, fish out the thyme and the bay leaves, then begin to dish up. Now this probably isn't as comforting as my last stew recipe, which was a beef and Guinness stew, as beef and Guinness stews, or just beef stews in general, have become more popular and renowned in Ireland than this. For example, for a couple of years I actually thought a beef stew was traditional, till I seen this, and this is my first time making it. Serve it up in a nice bowl, top it with a good bit of fresh parsley, And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, folks. It's much appreciated. Get up. Now I know a beef and Guinness or a beef stew has become more popular, but don't sleep on this. Trust me, it's unreal. It's actually my first time having it. This is my second bowl. I'm going to have it for the next 3 days because we all know stew's nicer the longer you leave it. It's easier to make. A lot of these ingredients I already had from the last stew. And there, yeah. Now if you have a bit of extra claw wedge and you want to make this even tastier, you make a very big chunk of lamb that still has the bone in, like the leg. Cut that down yourself, cook it. You can even make a nice stock from that and be unreal. I don't just cook Irish recipes in this channel. I cook loads of other things. I do it all. So if you want something completely different for dinner, just click this video right here. And there, yeah. Suppose that's that, isn't it, folks? Tops. Don't forget to stay nasty now. Yeah.